So many games. Oh, I'm a better Rangers supporter than you. So many games I've been to this season. I've been to all the home games. It's all I've been talking about, isn't it? It's all I've been talking about. Oh, I'm going to every home game this season. I'm trying to keep up my 100% attendance record with all the home games. I'm a better Rangers supporter than you really when you think about it. And then latterly, once basically since Wednesday night when I completed having been to every home game this season, be it at Hampden, be it at Ibrox, I started kind of saying, well, there's actually only one game that I've missed seeing the whole of live this season. When you think about all the games I watched on television, or the away games that I watch on television this season, well, it's only the Aberdeen game at Pittodrie because I was on holiday with my wife and we put the reserves out that day anyway. It was just a preparation game for Athletic Club Bilbao, so I didn't really miss anything that special. But I've only missed one game all season, and that's today. 58 games we've played this season, 58 games, and I was at 32 of them. I actually attended 32 of them in the flesh, and every other one up until today, I had seen every bit of it on TV, bar that one game. That's proving that I know what I'm talking about. I'm always there. I will rearrange my personal life, professional life, everything to make sure I can see Rangers as and when it happens. And that it all collapsed today because I was watching the game on Rangers TV. You know what happened there, don't you? You know what happened there. It's just I saw 20 minutes of the second half, something like that. But it's worse than that. This happened. This is true. What I'm about to tell you is absolutely true. I swear on Davy Cooper's left foot. I was in the house at noon. It was the game kicks off at 12:30. I'm in the house at noon. Doorbell goes, and I can see straight away it's two guys. It's two people standing there. Both look like adults. This isn't going to be good. This is going to be sales or something. But I opened the door, and it was a Jehovah's Witness honey trap. Jehovah's Witness honey trap. There's a fella. He looks Scottish. Basically, just looks kind of that kind of grey, had a hard life sort of way. But no, a pick on him. Probably about 70 years old, and he's got black, kind of suit trousers on, smart shoes, and that black dress shirt tucked into his and he's got the tie on as well, all kind of dark. And he's standing side on my front door, and he's looking at the guy who is right in front of my front door, facing me with the biggest, cheesiest smile ever. And he is muscular, probably maybe late 20s, early 30s, beard, very impressive spectacles, got a kind of Latin American ballroom dancer champion shirt on, a tango champion trousers on, very smart shoes, and the skin colour is telling me this guy is probably, and he goes, "Sir, hello sir, I'm so sorry to bother you, sir." I'm like, "That's alright, mate. I'm looking for Spanish speakers. Any Spanish speakers in the area? People who speak Spanish?" And I'm thinking, maybe these aren't. This what? This is really. He says, no, mate, this is the strangest scam of all time. He says, Spanish speaker? No, mate. And I was going to go, dos cerveza, por favor. Because I instinctively like to be nice to folk, especially when they're obviously going to the gym so often and the shirt's a bit open at the top. But I thought, no, this is. The game's just starting at 12:30. I can't try and get into anything else. And usually, if you give too much chat back, that's foot in the door stuff. If it is a sales thing, she goes, "No, sorry, I don't know any Spanish speakers." And I was kind of doing the whole kind of I've got stuff to do, mate, kind of vibe I was trying to put out. And he went, "All right, that's fine, sir. So sorry to bother you, sir." And I thought, okay, that was weird, but I've got away with this. He goes, "Just we're Jehovah's Witnesses, and we're looking for Spanish speakers." And I was like, "Oh, well, sorry, I can't help you." And he said, "That's okay, sir. You have a lovely day, sir." All right, that's fine. Thank you, and yourself. And just shut the door, and I'm thinking, and the guy's kind of looking still, and then he walks away. Is this what they're doing now? They're going round houses, hoping that sad, lonely, fat men are in, and they get a wee bit of that, even if they're not actually, kind of out and out gay or whatever. They might just think, "Oh, what the hell, this guy." It just seemed and maybe there's a lonely housewife, and they're just, "Oh, there's Julio, there's Juan, there's whatever." This guy was some sort of South American, obviously a native Spanish speaker, but he's looking pretty smart. But it's some sort of honey trap, and then I went into the VPN thing, and it turned out the free trial had expired. And I'm finding this out just before, and I'm not, as you've been watching these podcasts, again, last night's podcast, my preview pod, my apologies, it was out of sync. It was out of sync by the halfway point, and my mouth wasn't matching up to what was coming out my mouth. It wasn't going at the same time, so I'm really sorry about that, but I'm slightly technologically incompetent. So I'm on the laptop, and it's my wife's laptop because that's much better than mine. I've still got the same one I had like 20 years ago. It's like kind of Steam operated mine, and the Windows never updates and all that. It's like Windows 7, I think I'm still operating on. So to get Rangers TV the few times I've needed it this season, because I've got all the channels on the television. I've got the what do you call it, Prime, Amazon Prime, and Sky Sports, and TNT, and I can never remember the name of it, the kind of Swedish one that was Irish. It's a bit like Satanta, but it isn't the one they do the League Cup games. That one, I've got that as well. I've got them all, just to cover everything. But still, every now and then there's a game that's not covered by any of these, and it's an away game. We only got 1,300 tickets today, but I don't do away games anyway. So I'm going to have to watch it on Rangers TV, which means I need to set up the VPN to pretend that I'm somewhere else, maybe in one of Juan or Julio's home countries. But I don't really know what I'm doing with this kind of stuff. So suddenly it was asking me to do it in America. Like I was having to pay in dollars so because I'd already had the free trial, and I forgot to sign out the free trial. It was like, no, you've had your shot at getting the VPN thing for free, mate. I only need it. I only need it for a couple of Rangers games a season. I had to go in there and see. I mean, I could have gone out to the what do you call it, Loudon. Usually do that Loudon at Ibrox. I would go there, but Celtic fans are going about all over the place today. Plus, I need to take the underground because I would need to have a few pints. This leads to getting more expensive. But here I was having to spend $19.99 straight away to actually get a VPN for a year that I don't need, and it was terrible stuff. Try to get the cash line, the cash card and all that, and all my details in there, and weird. And then eventually I get in, and Rangers TV, I've got to sign up for that as well. And it's to do with my wife's laptop being like a state-of-the-art laptop, and everything's really slick on that, because I'm used to having to like batter the clicker thing, the right click, and all that. It's no, I don't. My mouse is just completely shot to pieces, but I don't actually know how to use a proper laptop now, so everyone's taking twice as long. And eventually I get onto Rangers Theatre, but I can see the games evaporating. I can see it's past 12:30 now, and I've been talking about how probably the fact that I've been to all the home games this season, I'm such a jinx. That's what it is. I'm such a jinx. And I was listing earlier all the games I'd been to, like during the 85-86 season, the only season we've lost more league games than we've won, no matter what league we're in, domestic league. And I only missed 2 league games that season. The 10 games in the trot we went under Alec McLeish without a win. I was at most of those games. And this season, of course, I've been at this as our record run. The one season I know for a fact I've completed every home game at Rangers have played this season. Flipping go on our worst ever home run, worst ever, and go back to 1872, the worst ever home run in our entire history. I'm there for every single one of those games that we failed to win on the bounce. So I was like, it must be me, it's a bit itchy, but I don't really mean it. Kind of sometimes I don't know. And then on it comes Rangers TV. I'm like quarter of an hour late, and it's all totally my fault for not being more organised. The kind of end of term thing has kicked in. I'm kind of done with it. If as much as I'm preaching to you guys out there, come on, it's an important game tomorrow. We can't just, write it off, or it's a dead rubber and blah blah. I think somewhere in the back of my mind, I was still thinking about Julio and the whole kind of my own private Idaho situation that had happened at the front door with the guy with the black shirt and all that. But I just and Nico Raskin, straight away you just look, it's 1-0. I'm not even a chance to check the score. I'm not distracting myself on my phone or anything. I'm not listening to the radio, and I'm just trying to use all my brain power to get into this Rangers TV coverage, and just as I do, it's we're in 1-0. Great, typical. I'm a jinx because I'm not watching the game. We've actually scored straight away. That's what. And then Nico Raskin appears to be dispossessing somebody in the middle of the box and kind of rounding the goalkeeper and knocks it into the back of the net. But Hibs equalise in the same motion. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's the most bizarre thing that's that's ever happened. You'd be the same if you're watching it on Rangers TV. With me, it was the 49th minute, the second half, 49th minute to, I think it was the 74th minute. 25 minutes of the second half, completely lost. Just went, Rangers TV was buggered. And I was checking on Twitter, other folk were going through the same thing. It wasn't just about my connection or anything like that. It wasn't something I'd done wrong in signing up for the VPN. It was everybody. And what I've heard that what happened during that 25 minutes was took me on board a beautiful spaceship late at night while I was driving. It took me and showed me the world as I'd love to see it. I tell all my friends, but they'd never believe me. They think that I'd finally lost it completely. But no, my friends were actually, I believe the bit about the spaceship coming down on Easter Road and sucking you through the screen, and it took you up onto the spaceship, and you're going above Leith and all that, and then you get back, and it was 2 each by the end of the game. But I don't, the bit about the ball being completely over the, what about my own private Idaho, the guy coming to the door, the Jehovah's Witness honey trap? No, that sounds legit. I've heard other reports of that happening in the Glasgow area. But this thing about the ball being over the line, and there's like 25 cameras at the ground, it's been totally filmed, and they've got this thing called VAR, and instead of giving the goal to Rangers, they let Hibs go up the park and they score, and that's fine. Everyone, and they allow that. I don't believe you. You're just making that stuff up. No, it happened. It genuinely happened. I'm sure I saw it. Maybe it's the problem is that I'm sober. Maybe I need a few drinks to kind of straighten that out in my head. How you doing, folks? This is your Fatek immediate post. Well, we're never trailing in the game. It didn't turn into a crazy goal fest. Dessers extended his lead in the SPFL Premiership scoring charts. Congratulations, Cyriel Dessers, the SPFL Premiership's top scorer this season. He's scored in every post-split fixture when we officially lost the title minutes before kick-off. And the first of those post-split fixtures, maybe that just Cyril's gone on a scoring run since then. He'd never scored in 3 successive league games in his life until I think it was it the game against Celtic, or the game against Aberdeen at Ibrox, and now that's him scored I think 6 goals in 5 consecutive league games. Maybe it sums him up, maybe it sums us up, I don't know, but we've drawn 3 and won 2 of our post-split fixtures. Barry's won more games than he's drawn and drawn more games than he's lost in his 15 games in interim management of Rangers, and we've seen Cortez hit a decent pass. What a buy he's going to be, considering we started the season with no stadium, no CEO. We've since had 2 managers and 3 chairmen. I think we'll basically just take that, and that'll do. That'll do is to get this season over with and put in the back burner, and we can move on to 2025, 2026 reaction pod, coming to you in association with Jersnet. Check out Jersnet tomorrow night, Sunday night, 9:30. It's going to be Rob, it's going to be Ross, it's going to be myself. I feel like changing my name to Robin or something like that, just to kind of keep in with the RO thing going on there. But I'm on Jersnet tomorrow night with 2 people who actually know what they're doing and know what they're talking about at 9:30. So check that out. And if you don't know that at least somebody else is as miserable as you, no, the folk that just watch Jersnet and don't watch this, they're not getting away with it either. They're going to have to listen to my pish patter before this season's done as well. I'm sponsored by Jersey, and I'm sponsored by Jehovah's Witness honey traps. Did that happen to anybody else in Glasgow? Have you had them come in the door? Is this a thing? I mean, obviously, you just go on the internet and you'll go, Spanish speakers in a certain area, and you go into this thing called Twitter, and it's obviously some sort of ruse to get Jehovah's Witnesses don't come to your door. Just a cup of sugar, please. Nobody asks. Nobody comes to the door looking for a bowl of sugar these days. Oh, my Jehovah's Witness, can we convert you? That's what's happening there. But clearly the idea was, do you like what you see? Is that going to be enough to drag you into they don't care how they convert you, and I hadn't even had a shower at that point in time as well, and my hair was an absolute mess. It was it was murder. It was sponsored by that. Yeah, sorry folks, my name's Alec Anderson. Keep looking through the window pane, just trying to see through the pouring rain. It's hearing your name. Hearing your name, I've never really felt quite the same since I've lost what I had to gain. No one to blame, no one to blame, it seems to me. Can't turn back the hands of time. Mhm. Oh, seems to me. Can't turn back the hands of time. And I'm talking to you not immediately after, I must admit, it's not immediate post-match reaction pods, but I'm still trying to take in what I saw on that pitch today in the 15th minute, 16th minute, whatever it was. Dead rubber. Dead rubber. Doesn't mean anything. I bet your blood was boiling when you saw that. I'm talking to you fairly immediately after Rangers, the first Scottish team ever to host a European final, to play in that European final, and to host it. And that was 64 years ago today. Thank you, Rangers Archives. Reminding us that the day we lost 2-0 to Fiorentina at Ibrox, we drew 2 each at the home of the first Scottish team to play in and obviously to host a European semi-final. That would be Hibs in our last SPFL Premiership match of the season. The game finishing 2 each. Honours even. Rangers, I can add Hibs to Aberdeen and Motherwell, anybody at St Mirren as a team we've failed to beat on their home patch in the two, or Motherwell, we only played Motherwell once away from home, but we've played Hibs, St Mirren and Aberdeen away from home twice each, and we've failed to beat any of them, although Hibs, of course, we drew both the games, drew 3 each with them in January, 2 each today. They beat us 2-0 at Ibrox quite recently, and back at the beginning of the season we beat them 1-0 at Ibrox. So Hibs really beating us on goal difference, but the overall effect is that with Celtic drawing today as well and Dyson Maida not scoring, that helps Cyriel Dessers. He's finished 2 goals clear, I think, at the top of the SPFL Premiership scoring charts. It means we finish 17 points behind Celtic and 17 points in front of Hibs. Second place, no one's ever really going to be taking that off us today. Remember, I mean, it's funny when you think about what the folks in Aberdeen are going to finish second, Rangers are going to finish third. I bet Aberdeen are wishing they could finish third these days, although I shouldn't laugh too much because they're our only hope now of stopping Celtic winning the treble. That's not going to happen. And basically, I'm rambling, folks, because it's over. It's just over. That season, 2024-2025, which from a domestic point of view has been a bit of a nightmare, is finally over. Though from a European point of view, it was absolutely fantastic. Hibs kind of doing to us, despite the fact we're 17 points ahead of them, what we've done to Celtic, despite the fact we're 17 points behind them. In head-to-heads, they've given us major problems. And we've only recorded 1 win against them. So I've just 32 out of 58 games this season I've actually attended, and I've only missed one. I've actually only missed one. So I think I've seen all in all. I missed the first 15 minutes, and I missed. I've seen. Lucky if I've seen half of the action today. So this will just be a reaction. This is just a reaction. As always, I always try to tell you it's not a match report. I try to give you what details I can because it's just so I can pass opinion on the major talking points of the game. But oh man, we drew 2 each with Hibs last game of the season, and I think we all just want to go to our beds. It's literally the moment I turned it, and then I'm quickly getting up the BBC. That's always a mistake, but it's not really. BBC's a fantastic institution. But it's controlled by major kind of Tory bams down south, and then in Scotland you've got the clear anti-Rangers agenda. I think I don't like to get into conspiracies as we're about to discuss, but I think it's pretty clear that their coverage is pretty anti-Rangers at times. But it's still a great news source, except that they never get the Rangers formation correct. So I'm quickly bringing it up. I'd heard, I think I'd seen the teams on my phone when we first started, and then I'm watching as the game's playing. It's like, oh aye, so they must have dropped Balogun the day. Must have dropped Balogun. That's proper. It's a strange decision. Also, Cassin Weirdos and Hefty's no there, and also this is all because the Jehovah's Witness coming up my door. I didn't get a chance to watch Barry's pre-match interview on YouTube and Rangers TV. And we had Danilo in there, and I'm quickly checking the bench, going, I mean, Balogun's not even in the bench, Hefty's not even in the bench, Igaman's not even in the bench. Is Barry falling out with all these guys, or is it just a case of, Ockies can all get home? They're all going and going, Gaffer, can we, the season's by, can we get home and see where, But I'm like, he's going totally soft, we're going to get gubbed here. I didn't realise that Balogun had started the game and actually got injured. I still don't know what happened to him. That was in about the 10th minute. That's my incompetence. But it's mostly a day for the rage, missing the players and the management, and hitting, externally, it's the SFA, the referee, and VAR, whatever. And also, it's going deeper internally. Patrick Stewart can maybe take it direct for the absolute state of Rangers TV today. Maybe we'll find out it was nothing to do with RTV. It was a problem at Easter Road or something like that. But I mean, $9.99. I'm lucky in that respect. That doesn't mean too much to me, although it still it kind of hurts. But there's people out there who that's bad. And that's not getting the value for their money. They should get a full refund for that. Bad play by Rangers. But I saw we're already 1-0 up. When I won nothing, I literally, when I clicked onto Rangers TV, that's when it was right at the time of the incident, and talk about making me feel like a jinx. I've missed the goal that we've scored, but it's all right. No, I'm going to see us scored. I've just seen us scoring a second goal, but not only does it not count, not only is it not allowed to count, play on, and Hibs score straight away, and I'm like, what the frick's going on here? Balmer Brown, the legend that is John Balmer Brown, one of my all-time favourite Rangers. I always get him in my all-time 11. He's just goes, it's corruption. And Tom commentator's got it on Rangers TV. He's like, well, we can't say that. But I think it's incompetence, Bomber. We can't say it's corruption. Well, I'm saying it, Tom. I'm saying it. It's corruption. There's no way it can be anything other than that. But I just like to. And Bomber goes, I'll just distance myself. It's my personal opinion kind of thing. It was all that kind of patter coming out there just to cover himself. But there wouldn't be a lot of people watching Rangers TV who were disagreeing with the Bomber at that point. I don't think it is corruption, but my God, you can see why people would think that. The ball, it was over the line, and so let's attack that first of all. What's happened there? At first, I'm thinking, is Raskin fouled Bashiri? Is Raskin adjudged to have fouled Bashiri? Which is unlikely, because he was holding off Bashiri. Bashiri couldn't get near. I'd missed what had happened to put Rangers in that situation. Was it good build-up play? Were Hibs at fault at the back somehow? But it seemed as if Raskin was suddenly in on goal when he shouldn't have been. But he's holding off Bashiri, and then I think he goes round Smith, the Hibs goalkeeper, slightly, and and Smith's kind of doing that thing of palming along the ground. He's crawling along the ground, and he's narrowing the angle. So it's at near post, but Nico's kind of swinging around, and he manages to get it up. It's a bit like Dessers' finish against Fenerbahce in Istanbul when we had goal line technology, and I keep forgetting we don't have goal line technology in Scotland. So I'm thinking it must have been a foul, but the referee's waved play on. Hasn't he brought it back for the foul? Doesn't seem right. They wouldn't do that. And maybe, and of course, when Hibs put the ball in the back of the net, it was they play the ball across from our right hand side across the front of the goal, and it goes, and it looked like somebody might be offside, but it turns out they were onside. And there was a check on that, so I think they're going to eventually resolve it. They're going to find out the ball was over, and they showed you the footage. They just showed you the footage of the ball being over the line, but no, it wasn't allowed. The goal wasn't allowed, but our goal wasn't allowed. So everything that happened after that was fine. That hadn't happened. The ball hadn't crossed the line. Play on, McDuff. Lay on, McDuff, and Hibs got the park and equalise after. So they'd only been behind for 16 minutes or something like that, 14 minutes perhaps. It really changed. You've got to think that would change the momentum of the game. I just couldn't work out at all. So I thought, right, we don't have goal line technology in Scotland. I was remembering that. We don't have goal line technology. You then go to VAR, and I'm thinking, I know what's happened here. Do you remember, for example, the Spain-Japan game in the last World Cup? The ball looks over the line from all sorts of angles, but we got the kind of computerised version of what had actually happened, and you see that the ball is millimetres in, and it's mind-blowing. It's an optical illusion. So I think, because there are such a thing as optical, and you think, what would have happened though if the ball actually hits the back of the net and is then kicked straight back out. Like, sometimes the goalkeeper goes into the back of the net, there's a few defenders fall in there as well. If the ball hits the back of the net, touches the back of the rigging, that's it. Even they kick it straight back out and Hibs go up the park with it. It's like, that's a goal. We saw it touching the net. I think if it had been on the ground as well, it rolls over the line along the ground, but it was kind of in the air slightly, maybe like 6 inches to a foot in the air as it crossed the line and gets swatted back out. I think technically what they're saying is there is no way you're having to rely on the human eye to judge that ball, because that's what we're doing. And with all our human eyes, it's a goal. You can see that it is over the line, but there's nothing decisive enough to prove that it is completely over. It's a kind of, folk complain about political correctness gone mad, or woke gone mad these days. This looks like not technology gone mad, but the inclusion of technology in football gone mad, because it's set up protocols whereby we now have to say, well, normally you would rely on the referees' vision, but I think what's happened there is, because it's embarrassing, Nick Walsh has got to know that it's going to be embarrassing if he knows how far over the line it is. Never mind this fact Nick Walsh seems to hate us. What he did with Diamandi at Tannadice, for example, and us hearing the foot, and they know they're recorded. They know that there is transparency. There will be a wee programme comes out, is it every month, just referees mic'd up, and it tells you any major mistakes that have been made. The SPFL, the SFA own up to it, and they play back the audio of how this decision was arrived at. So the thing I can only think of is, we're so used to saying that you can't rely on the naked eye, and it's funny that this happened at Easter Road against one half of the Old Firm. It's denied Celtic a goal against Hibs, and Hibs won that game. And I think the official responsible ends up getting the sack or bumped down or something, because Celtic made quite a stoosh of it. Rangers have already put out a statement, but I think it's probably a case of we can't judge it, the human eye, because there are situations where the ball appears to be over the line, but it isn't. So that'll be the protocol. The thing for bringing VAR into it is usually it's such a bad decision that VAR has to come in and overrule the on-field decision. I think there's very little excuse for the linesman. There's a lot of bodies involved. But you then have a thing of, if we're relying on the naked eye, then it can't be, as to whether the ball has crossed the line or not, then it can't be proven to be such a bad decision when we know that the ball crossing the line is something that fools the naked eye all the time. Yet, are we not relying on the naked eye for 99% of the decisions that are made during the course of a game involving fouls and who got their foot on the ball first and blah, blah, blah? There's no way of measuring it. There's no way of exactly confirming it. But if you can do the lines for offside, you should be able to do them for basically goal line technology, whether the ball has crossed the line or not. It should be in place. I don't know, but we're not into the corruption here. I don't think. I think we're just into another lacuna in the protocols of VAR. But I like VAR because it does kind of haul people over the coals straight away. The mistakes are made, come to light. Not all of them. Of course, a mistake like this will come to light. People will pay the price for it. But during the day, during the game itself, Rangers paid the price by, instead of going into a 2-goal lead within the first kind of 16, 17 minutes, it's one each, and Hibs get a bit of momentum back in what is a big day for them, because they're celebrating finishing third, and they want to do that in fine style. They've only given us 1,300 tickets, so there's quite an atmosphere, quite a pro-Hibs atmosphere in a strangely roasting Easter Road. Absolutely roasting. We did not wear the new kit that I've decided not to like. Remind me to talk about that towards the end of the pod. The new home top, I thought we might debut that today, but instead we wore the existing third strip, which is pretty much black. I thought that's a brave decision in that kind of heat. So yeah, it was awful. It was really, I don't know at what point you're allowed to use the naked eye for the ball going over the line. We then have like Nick Walsh towards the end of the half. He's speaking to Nico Raskin. I say, we know what happened with Diamandi, and we heard the foot. I'm going to put him off. It sounds like he's psyched up. Nick Walsh. You're running about at any point in time. The endorphins go. He's refereeing a professional football match at the top level in Scotland. They'd be taking abuse for different players all through the whole game, and it sounds like he's determined to. But I'm going to enjoy pitting Diamande off, despite the fact you guys in the VAR room are telling me not to. But it's definitely a demerit for Nick Walsh. And then today, when he's talking to Nico Raskin, doing the whole thing of no, you come here, I'm talking to you. So Raskin, no, just stop there, just you stop there. Don't come too close to me. So Raskin's right, I'll back off. No, come back, actually getting him. Bit closer, a bit further away. No, I'm not happy with how close you're standing to me. That's a characterisation, perhaps. But you can't help it. It's wee things like that start making you suspicious. It's also wee things like that are easy to blow out of all proportion, and you're just taking the bits of a story that suit you. For example, in the 80th minute, he had an absolute nightmare when Tav tackled somebody, and he obviously thought initially, I think Tavernier's got the ball there was no foul, and Tav's going to go in the break. And then he does the hands, the wave on, play on. It's not a foul. No, come back. But he doesn't apologise. He's trying to make out that he was actually, there's a foul against James Tavernier. Yeah, I'm bringing the ball back here. That's exactly what I wanted to do. I'm just got my hand up because I'm saying it's here that the ball should go, here for the foul that you committed, James. He's having a bit of a mare, and that doesn't help in our impression of the VAR officials. It was a quite incredible thing to watch. The ball's clearly over the line, but as I say, if it hits the back of the net, how do you know it hit the back of the net? You just think it hit the back of the net. Maybe a gust of wind hit the back of the net at the exact time you thought the ball was hitting the back of the net, and the ball was actually in the centre circle. So the team, I was trying to put it together as this mayhem is happening. I'm looking at the BBC website. I'm looking at Balogun. They've got Balogun in the starting lineup. And it turned out, and then at half time, when I got a chance to go for a shower and quickly try and get some lunch into me, I was listening to Barry's pre-match presser, and Hefty, who come off, I realised Hefty come off the other night for Casemiro. And Casemiro obviously is a right back. I was right-sided anyway, plays centre half as well. Remember him playing well, doing very well at Malmo that night, playing at left back. But I thought, why is he coming on to play on the left-hand side? Is this a slap in the face for Hefty, who did really well that night? Not only after he put that cross in for the goal against Dundee United for Dessers, he then another couple of cracking balls that should really have been put away. He was really starting to come onto a game. And is it like, or is Hefty? Is he is somebody showing interest in him, and he just wants to go straight away? He wants to sign for somebody else. You wonder what's going on behind the scenes until you actually look. That's why I don't like to judge the VAR thing too closely. Start calling folk criminal and what have you. There may be negligence there, but I don't think there's any kind of conspiracy, because you don't really know what's happening all the time, and you get the information. Barry Ferguson going, he pulled a hammy. I think was it hamstring? He pulled a hammy against Dundee United the other night. He's injured. That's it. So we don't have Yilmaz is also injured. So obviously in comes Casemiro, and Balogun had started as well, but something happened in the 10th minute yet again. Leon Balogun not lasting a whole game, and on had come Robin Proper for him, which didn't help things as the game went on. A non-change, it was big news as well, was Jack Butland remaining in goals. So Liam Kelly, talk of him having a back problem, but I thought Barry was just giving Jack Butland a game on Wednesday night there against Dundee United so he could say goodbye at Ibrox, but he trusted him again today, and I think Butland was fairly solid throughout the game today. What was the other? So Danilo comes in, Igaman as well. Also, I'm like, he just hates Igaman, doesn't he? I quite like Igaman, but I know he's no perfect. I know that we do have problems sometimes when he starts games, Igaman. But it's like, why is he get Igaman? But Igaman was injured as well. He didn't travel, as the boss was saying before the game, if I'd heard it. And Danilo gets his shot, and Barry had said quite pointedly that he got a shot up at Pataudry and failed to take full advantage of it quite recently. So he's no fancy in Danilo at all, as Barry, but he had to use him today. So it looked like we were going with the 4-diamond-2 again. And Cherny, who we're starting to wonder with his wife's Instagram and what have you, if he was going to be, see the preview pod, if he was going to be playing today. No, he was in there behind the front two, just at the kind of point of the diamond of the midfield, and it was Diamande, Barron, Raskin, and Tav, of course, the captain, playing it right back. So that was it. It was one each before I really knew what has happened, and it seemed to be kind of back and forth for most of the game. A lot of poor play, a lot of energy kind of end to end, but a lot of poor play as well. It was almost the heated up baked bean, the baked beans done in the microwave. They're warm, but the quality, the depth, the truth of the warmth isn't real. It's not there, and it was a whole lot of kind of bluster about today without any true pattern to the game. A lot of players coming to the end of their time at the particular clubs, and just everybody generally looking towards the summer holidays because there could be no movement in the league between any of them. But I gets to half time. There was 37 minutes. Barry also came out and marked one of the Hibs players at the game. Is it one of the twins? He came out there and just the ball comes into the technical area, and he's trying to take a free kick from inside the Rangers technical area. Barry's not moving, but he's also not reacting. He's just kind of like the wee tiny smirk on his face. Just automatically goes back instinctively to midfielder. Boss man, Scottish midfield battle winner, Royale Supreme Barry Ferguson can't help himself, and they completely shat it for the free kick. The guy he was gone in the head. He just put the free kick straight out. It was great. They totally outvied him. Nice moment for Barry there, and what will be his last game in charge of Rangers. We started well in the second half. We got a corner. Dessers had two kind of misses. He missed a good chance. He went through. He missed a good chance, but it was offside, and that was a theme. There was a lot of Dessers missed a sitter. Oh no, it was offside anyway. So it's. But while we were on the attack, there was about 49 minutes. Rangers TV just went down, and that was it. I'm on Twitter finding it wasn't just me, and it was 74 minutes before it was back up. But this time it was 2 each. So Rangers had gone in the lead again, and that had me thinking, yeah, I haven't seen any Rangers live goal. We've had the ball in the back of the net completely legitimately, and that was disallowed because I'm watching live. This whole season has been my fault. But Hibs equalised during that period of the Rangers TV being out as well. So the only time I really I saw the goals at the end of the game, by the time it come back on, it's 74th minute, but 78th minute, Cyriel Dessers, he went on a break. Kind of Danilo was free at the back post, but he couldn't find him, and Hibs went straight back up the park, and John Suter had to get it out for a corner. So it looked at this point, like we might lose the game because the Hibs players were geeing up their supporters and that when they're taking corners and shies and that, trying to get them going. And there was a massive Hibs support there in the sunshine. They wanted to have a day of celebration. But Rangers haven't lost here since 2006 in the top flight, and it's good that we hung on to make sure that was going to happen. 81 minutes, Raskin and Czerny both went off, so Barry Rice and Oscar Cortez come on, the much maligned signing, Oscar Cortez. And Raskin had a wee wave to the fans, which you're going to do anyway as a player coming off. He's getting a wee ovation from them, but you're always, is that him saying cheerio? Is that him saying goodbye? He's not going to come back next season. Something's been sorted out, it wouldn't surprise me, but he's probably just waving. And Bomber instantly, 8-9 minutes of the game still to go, normal time still to go, and Bomber on co-coms and Rangers TV names Raskin as his man of the match. Nobody's going to come on and do something that beats how Nico Raskin has played in this game. So Nico Raskin, I think, has got like 4 straight man of the match awards in this little period for Rangers. But it was kind of constant offsides. Hibs are pushing it. Big day for them, geeing up the crowd, but 87th minute, we try to break, hitting them in the break, and then they're hitting us. And just a lot of awful football. The ball was, we couldn't put 2 passes together, either team. I mean, we couldn't put 2 passes together. It was getting a bit of a joke. 90th minute, Danilo had a kind of soft shot from about 8 yards. He should really have put it away. Smith's kind of parries it, gets down low, their goalie parries it, and Dessers can't convert it. And there was 3 minutes at injury time, and Tav, I'm sure he's trying to score for a corner, although this is what happens. We don't see the game in real time. I thought at the time, I think Tav's trying to score from a corner. I think he did it on Wednesday night as well. He's not a goal for a while. Was it a bit selfish? But it turns out he's perfecting near post corners. And I felt as if he needed to score at that point in time because Hibs seemed to be building up for the big finish. Teams in green on the top are on the up. Teams on the up. Green and white. It's a big celebration day for Celtic at Parkhead, and I had to check their score because I want to know as we went into the final minutes of the game. Has Maeda scored any goals today? Is he going to catch Dessers for the only award we're winning this season? In the men's game, good luck to the women tomorrow. Also against Hibs, obviously a massive game for them. Hopefully they're going to complete a treble. But Yeah, I found out that Maida hadn't scored at all for Celtic, but I saw that James Forrest hadn't completed this. Did they get the romantic moment? Celtic Forrest has scored in 28 consecutive seasons. As soon as I heard that start the other day, I actually thought, oh, he'll score the win on the Scottish Cup final late on. But he did it today. Forrest got the goal, but there's nothing for Maida. So I thought that's good. They're into injury time as well. Maida hasn't scored. He'll need to get a hat trick sharpish. But I also felt as if that might happen because of the way Hibs were getting themselves psyched up as well. But this is the time we always lose goals in these games since 2012. The number of we can't just go and lose a game or draw a game somewhere away from home. It's a bit embarrassing. We have to lose, concede an equaliser or go behind the last kick of the ball at the game. It's been happening for years now. So all these kind of dark fears, this paranoia was hitting me. At 94th minute, Dessers went down the left. And I was actually so relieved at that point in time because I realised we'd gone over the allotted injury time. This was going to be the last move of the game. It almost didn't bother me when he puts a great ball into the box, and then Danilo just somehow manages to completely miss from about 3 yards out or something like that. It didn't even bother me. It's just been such a long, hard season. And that was it over. We'd avoided defeat. It's no. I think my thing has been since Barry took over. I don't want to keep going on about this trip. If you've been watching these pods of mine, you'll know my position on this. Since Barry took over, I was just hoping to avoid disaster. I was just hoping to avoid any more humiliation, and I wanted Barry to be able to just repolish the lustre of his career. It got a bit, and I was a bit slightly dulled by the way he left the club in 2009. The love was there, but maybe the affection died a tad for me. It was dialed down a tad by that. But the minute he took this job, I was so scared for him. I just felt nothing but the love and nothing but the concern for Barry in this position. And I must admit, I didn't think he was up to it at all. And I don't think he's up to being the full-time manager, but he's certainly proved. I think he's proved what a great Ranger he is. I think just that thing does exist. It is a real thing of just being a club man, and he will do things at that club that he couldn't do anywhere else. And he did it. I thought his interimship has been an absolute credit to him, and it's been really emotional to watch as well. And I just want to say thanks very much, Barry. Thank you, mate. You did us proud, pal. You did us proud, and you're always fucking Rangers legend. And it was good to watch. You get through this period without anything terrible happening, and we got a win at Parkhead. We get that amazing last 16 match. He's beaten Jose Mourinho out of Europe, the special one, a guy with more European trophies to his name than I have pies in my diet. So that was. It was a great moment. Barry's done really well, and at that point, of course, it's full time. Rangers TV starts showing you the goals. They just quickly, but they only show you our goals because it's Rangers TV. And the first goal, the opener on the second minute, was lovely. It was Smith. No, from our point of view, not from Hibs. Smith, the Hibs goalkeeper, he is obviously trying to hit the wing. He's trying to do that thing. I'll hit it to somebody. Up at the kind of halfway line in the wing, and he doesn't hit it correctly, but Nico Raskin is on it, literally on it. He's just reading the ball, he's watching, he's concentrating, and he's got the skill. He doesn't go in there and just intercept it any way he can, cut the ball out. It's a header that he immediately plays. Just one touch, and again, it's that Nico Raskin head that he plays the ball straight to, in the process of cutting it out. All one move. I'm cutting it out. The ball, Hibs aren't going to get this ball forward. I have pounced on it, and I am putting it straight to Cyriel Dessers, who's the man on the spot. And the Hibs defence was all over the place at that point in time. So Cyril's kind of pretty much on this, almost on the penalty spot. But he's back to goal, and he chests it, and it's a swivel volley. The technique is exquisite to place it right into the bottom corner. It's all about balance. That thing of, it's like yourself, you try to turn around, the ball's kind of coming to you from the air and you're taking it down while also bumping it up so you can swing round on it. It was a beautiful, beautiful finish, and congratulations to Cyriel Dessers. That was a beautiful way, a very worthy way of becoming the SPFL Premiership top scorer for the season. That's him, Rangers top scorer. Too bad he's on 29 goals. I would like to have got the 30, but it will still be Alfredo, who's the last player to have scored 30 goals for Rangers and the last player to have scored 29 goals for Rangers in a season, and it's 18 league goals for Cyriel Dessers this season, made him the SPFL Premiership top scorer. I know I've said that about 15 times. I'm going to maybe just say it, one time for every goal that he scored, because it's the only thing, we've actually won this season. The men's team. Well done, Cyriel. The second goal was, I realised in retrospect that corner I had seen Tav taken later on in the second half was him trying to reprise what he'd done with the corner. And when did we actually score? What minute was it we scored the second goal? I don't know. In the second half, but it was a fantastic in-swinger to the front post, and it's Nico Raskin, the Belgian ghost. The goal against Celtic at Parkhead with the header in the first half there, and the goal against Union Saint-Gilloise as his countryman in our last group stage match in our tremendous Europa League campaign. So he's he's on an amazing run of form, Nico Raskin. Everybody wanting him to be captain next season. I think he'll go for some reason, or maybe I don't know. I think we should get just between 35 and 40 million. Would do the business. He had that great game against Spurs at Ibrox. I think that's the moment teams like that see him. That kind of level, they're just, let's shell out 30 million minimum on a guy like that, like it's loose change. So I think he will go, but he's been really great to watch. He's not been consistent enough, obviously, through his whole career. Ibrox so far, hopefully that career will extend, but he's been tremendous the last few months. There is something to be said about that, like Dessers getting all his goals, this amazing goal streak during the post-split period when we're basically in the dressing room at St Mirren for the first of our 5 post-split fixtures, as Celtic confirmed they have won the league. We officially have nothing to play for at that point in time. We're already out of Europe. We aren't out of Europe, but we're still in the Europa League. There's nothing to play for domestically at that point in time, and that's where he goes in the best league goal scoring run of his career. So there's maybe something to say about that. We're asking as well why these players putting together little runs when there's. But Raskin's, as I say, had a great game against Spurs as well. He was fantastic against basically all the European opponents that he come up against on the continent and at Ibrox, and it's the same for Dessers as well. Away from home, he's worked miracles for Rangers in Europe. So it's no strictly speaking true, but it's still a criticism that will be levelled at a team who is underachieved domestically. There's no two ways about that. I think considering the injuries, the Hibs second equaliser. Is it Cadden? One of Cadden's been doing the wing, and I'm already hearing it's Tav's fault. He did get past Tav. I don't know if Tav was in it's the area Tav should be in. If a cross comes from the right hand side, it's going to be Tav's fault. It was a hell of a cross. I don't know how close Tav could have got to him at that point in time. Realistically, should have been a lot closer. Okay, but the guy puts on a phenomenal. It's right out in the wing. He's right out on our right wing, and he puts a phenomenal ball over to the back post. Proper. It seems that John Souttar is shouting in the direction after Martin Boyle gets up at the back post and heads it home. It seems like John Souttar's having given a bollocking to one of Robin Proper, the other, his fellow centre half, or Kassan Weirjo, who's the left back, and maybe should be coming in to cover at the back post. I feel as if it was Robin Proper. It's Robin Proper's job. Bomber certainly thought it was Robin Proper's job. Again, Bomber Brown, I have to just remember there the comment he had today. We're talking about Martin Boyle leading the line for Hibs and being really fast. And he says, John Gregg said to me, fast players can't run with any legs. So the game's changed. The game's changed. It certainly has, Bomber. It certainly has. But it was that was a good line. But it seemed like Proper was to blame for that one. Maybe it's 1.5 million. It could have been better spent in Robin Proper. Well, I'm not going to do a full rundown of the whole team. I've been doing that all season. Just giving the criticisms of all the players and giving my little rundowns, my little profiles of all the players in our squad this season, through the course of this season. But Robin Proper, since scoring for Motherwell in his debut, I feel as if hasn't been the best of signings. Very good against Celtic, scores against Celtic, and a much needed their first win against Celtic for far too long back at New Year, and he's good in Europe. I think he was great against Manchester United, doing at Old Trafford, for example. He's very good in Europe. He likes European style game more. I think he just can't cope too well with St Mirren giving him a kicking in games like this today. But I don't think we'll be seeing Robin Proper again. That was it. Massive incompetence from Rangers TV, massive incompetence from the officials. We'll hear more about that. But the game it just felt like a crazy, typical kind of end to the day, an end to the season, really. And I'm falling to pieces here with this podcast, folks. I'm sorry. It's obviously just sometimes you can't fake it. You're just knackered. It's suddenly realising that I'm going to stop with these. No, stop with the pods. For this, there's going to be plenty happening, but stop the previews and the reaction pods to the games. Stop watching Rangers games for 2 months because there's not going to be any. It's just like it's been emotionally draining, hasn't it, folks? And you've got to listen to me after it as well. So it's been absolutely brutal. We'll try and what are we going to what we talk about now? I'll do a quick review of the season. This is it's a post-match reaction pod, but it's a post-season reaction pod. And as I say, I've been doing most of my reaction to the season as the season's gone on. You can go back through all these videos if you really want to. I cover, I preview every Rangers game played this season, and I've a reaction to almost all except that game at Aberdeen, to every Rangers game played this season. So there's plenty of stuff in there if you want to get my wizened or harrowed opinions on the whole Rangers season and player by player and game by game and whatever. But I think it's basically going to be remembered as the season where a Rangers team that couldn't cope with having more of the ball than the opposition. That's quite strange in itself. We're a team almost built to counter-attack in a league where like 90% of our games see us with more of the ball. I think laboratory test conditions, unfortunately, was Queen's Park. They had one shot on our goal, a championship side, and they put us out of the Scottish Cup despite our dominance of play. There was just zero cutting edge. They won one and drew one at Ibrox versus Celtic with 40% possession. 40% possession in both those games. We took Man United to injury time at Old Trafford. We destroyed Nice in their place. Malmo, we played them off the park in Sweden. I think it was like 35% possession we had in that game. At most, Olympiacos, they're Olympiacos at home. Olympiacos, the first Olympiacos side to be a European trophy holder, and we go there to Piraeus. It's a crazy atmosphere, and we held them quite easily. Come away thinking we should have drawn the game. Fenerbahce, we destroyed them in Istanbul. One of the most, the Sukru Sarakoglu in Karakoy on the Asian side of the Bosphorus. One of the most frightening atmospheres in European football, UEFA club competition, and we went over there and we humped them 3-1, and with 2 goals rolled out as well, which were offside because the lines were drawn, but we were very close to beating them 5-1. I think all in all it's worked out as expected when you remember we had no stadium, no board really. The executive structure at the beginning of the season was completely kaput. To give a flavour of what let's just try and sum it up quickly. Summarise this season as best I can, just the way I can. It's difficult to explain the depth, which I feel as if there's 3 moments in television that just live with me. 3 horrific, dramatic moments in television. Watching stuff on a screen, and you're watching a lot of these Rangers games on a screen, or not, as the case may be today. But if I say to you, Big Pussy, Drew Sharp, and Sally Draper, or Sally Draper, Dawn Draper, and Sylvia, Dawn's next door neighbour, these 3 moments where I hate people who talk, see at the cinema or at the theatre or something like that, people who make any kind of noise, especially anybody who's talking about what's happening on the screen. Shut up. What the hell? That's the most pig ignorant thing ever. And yet these 3 moments, I think probably 2 of them I was just so brutally, horrified, so completely wrought with emotion, terror, sickening, shame, disgust, just horror that I wouldn't say, but at least one of them I've just gone, oh God, I've become that person where you just, oh God, even in my own house, I like to watch things in total silence, you know what I mean? But I couldn't help letting out a gasp when you have that moment where Big Pussy, Bonpensiero in Sopranos, it's hard to specify one moment. There's the guy telling the kind of robbery homicide bent cop telling Tony that Big Pussy's is wired, and he says, I'm sorry, I know you like him. Like him? I fucking love him. What? And what he's telling Polly, at Bada Bings, where he's telling Paul, that this is, he's wearing a wire pussy wearing a wire, and Polly's like, no way, and Polly's offering, if we've got to kill him, I'll kill him, because you've got the stripes. This is the reason you're the boss. You should take it. This is one of the horrible things you have to do in this job. It's killing somebody that you loved as a pal. And Tony's gone, no, this is our friend we're talking about. He says, you've got to be 100% sure. I need to be 110% sure that he's wearing a wire. I'm only 90% sure just now. He says, and Paulie's saying, I'll find out. And he's, no, this is our friend we're talking about here. You say it. You say you understand. And he's like, I understand. That scene, I'm just like, no, and they were talking about it, I remember that being the end of the scene. I think Tony's got Paulie there's another bit, I think it's in a changing room. It might be getting mixed up with the locker room bit where Paulie's trying to get Pussy to strip. They're going to go and get a sauna and all that, and Pussy's not having it because he's wearing the wire. But I think I might be confused. That was a bit with Tony. I think Tony's got a hold of Paulie. Are you sure? And Paulie's having to kind of calm him down. But I remember this was at a time before box sets. I think before we had the streaming services that The Sopranos was first on television, and I was going to have to wait until next Thursday to find out what happened. And I remember in the credits coming up, just going, no, like, don't stop now, don't stop television, don't stop Sopranos. I need to be in next week. It's the most gripping thing ever. You're so emotionally involved. And then there was, was it the methylamine? In Breaking Bad, when they're stealing the methylamine, it's a heist. I love a good heist, and the plan for it and all that, and it's all worked out to perfection. And they're on they've got they stopped the train that's got the methylamine in the back, and they've worked out the way to replace the methylamine with the weight of water or something they put into it, and the wee boy, the wee boy that's going about in his Drew shirt. That must be a pun. His name must be a pun. Because Jesse Plemons, as soon as they see him, it's a wee boy who's just out riding about on his wee BMX that we all did when we were kids. It was a grifter for me. Running about the desert, and he's watching it, thinking, this is amazing. These guys have stopped their training, they're doing some of the training. He just gives me a wee wave. Because they see him, they all turn around, and it's like, oh no, there's a witness to what we've just done. There's a witness to this perfect crime, and the witness is a wee boy who, and before they can think about it, it's Jesse Plemons is a psychopath, and he just shoots him, and you're like, no, and I'm like, no, and he shoots the wee boy. I think Drew sharp. He drew his gun sharp, Jesse Plemons, and kills him, and you're like, and they've got to, this is the criminal life. This is actually what ends up happening. It's not just fun and great adventure, and you pulled off a massive heist and total. It was horrific. I would just been like feeling the shame. What, for somebody that's murdered it? But it's one of the moments. And then there was Sally Draper, Dawn Draper's in Mad Men, Dawn's wee lassie, and she's just running about that age, 11, 12, and starting to fancy boys and all that. And there's a whole thing that leads up to her getting the keys for the guy in the front door, the doorman. And he's like, all right, there you go, to get into her dad's flat, but she uses because they're kind of master keys for the whole building. She uses to get into the next door neighbour's flat because her wee pal has sent a letter to the son of the folk who live next door to her dad. Her wee pal's sent him a letter saying, oh, Sally fancies you. So she's like, oh, I've got to get in there before he gets back from school or whatever and get that letter away. But because she discovers Dawn, her dad, in flagrantis by the next door neighbour with the boy's mother. If you know Mad Men, you know what I'm talking about, and it's quite notable that in all the scenes of Mad Men, where there's sex scenes, there's no nakedness and there's no nudity, out and out nudity in Mad Men, but there's all people are getting it on all the time. But it's always kind of done from a certain point of view, that you get an idea of how raunchy they're feeling about each other, or maybe it's a real love-making scene. They're both deeply in love with each other. It's pure romantic and that. This was the most disgusting. They showed Dawn, who's a favourite of the ladies, really good-looking guy and all that, so you can see why folk are going mad for him, and also he's romanticising. He's a philanderer because of his background and whatever, blah blah blah. But this was the first time they just showed you the kind of what it must look like to just seen from the outside, the reality, and it's like he's got his trousers at his ankles. He's still got his shirt on and all that, his big hairy arse is good. So basically, it's to make it as horrific as possible. It's the most romantic or unloving or unsexy, sex scene ever. There's no nudity at all in it, but it's to give you an idea. This is what Sally, and you're just like, no, and the characters themselves, it's like, no, we can't have this. It's bad enough they're having the affair with each other. Because they've both got their partners and the Stein next door. It's just totally squalid. But his wee lassie has just seen it. Of all the folk to find out, she's just, and it's just devastating. You're sitting going, no, this can't happen. This can't happen. Football doesn't have a fourth wall. Football doesn't protect you. It might look like a theatre. It might look like, kind of proscenium arch, all the stand roofs around me, and I'm sitting in seats. This could be like the balcony. I'm up in the top tier. It's like the balcony. It's like the dress circle, and the players are out in front of me, trying to create some magic. No, you are Rangers. I am Rangers. So when Queen's Park put us out the Scottish Cup, it wasn't just one wee twist at the end of it happened over the course of 90 minutes plus injury time, and we added James Tavernier getting the penalty at the end, which nobody thought he was going to score, and their goalkeeper pulls off the save of the century. That goalkeeper, so we don't even get the usual Rangers, the Masons getting the referee's decision to save them again. It was... We have to go in the real world with that. This isn't... TV and movies not at a remove. The screen's there. It is a fictional world, even though it's sometimes made as realistic as possible to drag you in. And Sopranos, for example, had already had, was it the same time? I think it was before that, the storyline with the guy who lived next door to Tony, who was kind of Italian-American and was loving the fact that Tony is a bit of a gangster and was trying to kind of get off on it, and Tony has to eventually just teach him a wee lesson, and a really subtle, it's really well done. So that's having a go at you as a viewer who's sitting in your wee cosy house with your nice, normal, law-abiding life, thinking for 1 second that you could be a gangster because you find Tony and his mob a bit, and it's impressive how hard they are and all that. But this is one moment, are you getting just how squalid this is? You have to execute your best mate because he's grassing you up. That's, you take him out in a boat in the middle and you have to shoot him, and it's letting you know, just like, oh my God, it's almost kind of saying to you, slapping you about, going, aye, this is what it's all about. Walter White is great. He was getting laughed at by all his colleagues and his pupils at school and all that, and even his wife didn't have any time for him, but he's actually a master criminal. It's really good what he's done. Shot a wee boy. He killed a wee boy who had nothing to do with anything. You're just like, oh, Jesus Christ, this... and Don, he's a philanderer. It's a bit, it might be great, you put a suit on, you're really good at the advertising stuff, really smooth. There's all these young hot birds about, you can fire into any one of them you want. It's, oh my God, your daughter, you're filth, you're total scum. But you still switch off the tail a bit, you're still in the house, and it still hasn't happened to you. Queen's Park happened to us. Queen's Park happened to you, it happened to me, it happened to us as Rangers supporters. It's the worst defeat in our history in the Scottish Cup. And the Scottish Cup is the longest tournament in Scottish. It's the oldest extant trophy in the world. The FA Cup that they're playing for right now, the FA Cup final is about the third FA Cup or whatever. It's quite old, but it's that old wine cooler. But the Scottish Cup, they can't. You have to made a replica because the original one's 40 pieces, but it is the original Scottish Cup. We get put out. It's probably our worst domestic defeat ever as well. I mean, we took a 7-1 down off Celtic in the League Cup final, and I was there when they beat us 5-1 at home at Ibrox under Pedro. There was kind of reasons, certainly for the Pedro one, a bit of mitigation. At least we're back in the top flight and all that. This was always going to happen. And we've been at Parkhead and won the league there, beating them 3-0 and stuff. So but that was a championship side at Ibrox. It was horrific, and we go out into the world and we are Rangers supporters, and people know we're Rangers supporters, and that we're more Rangers than half the players that ever play for Rangers. 75% of them perhaps are just passing through. Or the managers as well, some of the directors. But we are supporting Rangers our whole life, and there is no fourth wall. It is just us, and it was absolutely horrible, and that is a low point. That we would need to have won the Europa League to make up for that this season. This season is a failure, technically, just inarguably, but also if you want to get technical about it, and I do because of the European one means the world to me. Against that, you've got the thing about this, the crazy thing, summing up this season, and the whole stuff with Rangers TV today just seemed unbelievably symbolic, very emblematic. But days before that game against Queen's Park, was it not even 2 weeks? Cyriel Dessers' equaliser at Old Trafford. It's the other kind of indelible mark this season has left in my soul. The night against Fenerbahce was so compelling at Ibrox, and our win over there was just thrilling. Our win in Istanbul, and the whole Europa League campaign was tremendous. But for some reason, it's just, I think it's because of what Manchester United mean to anybody who's been watching British football, and watching Match of the Day, watching as many English games almost on television as Scott. And I've been to Old Trafford not just to see Man United. I've been to Anfield to see Liverpool, and I went to see Arsenal, and I've been to all the big grounds down south and what have you. But it was to go down there and just, I know it's a bad Manchester United team, but they're probably going to end up winning the Europa League on Wednesday night. But it's Manchester United, our fifth game against them and our third tie against them in Europe, and our first goal, and it was just a thing of sublime beauty. A fantastic ball from our captain, and the take and the finish from our centre forward Cyriel Dessers. It's just, I remember it was a kind of preternatural yawl that I let out when that goal went in. It was just, I thought we were going to win the game. I did think we were going to win the game. I've never felt anything like it. I have felt stuff like it watching Rangers, of course, against Fiorentina back in the day, against that whole run to the final in 2022. But that was something else. The entire European run, I just kind of a wondrous, lovely, totally thrilling and enjoyable thing. Only bettered by what we achieved in Europe 3 seasons ago. So it's our second best European run in the last 17 years. And it involved a lot more games than the one we had a few years back. So I think that's something that you can't take away from the team either. That's, golden age of television stuff. That is what the acting, the directing, the writing, the production values of Sopranos, of Breaking Bad, of Mad Men. It's a wee golden age of television moment for Rangers this season. So you have to play one off against the other. We had one horrific Scottish Cup defeat, the most horrific ever. But we also had one of our best ever European campaigns. And I think, a bit like 2022, the state of Scottish football within the European game these days, I think, especially getting to final in 2022, pro rata beats what we did in 72, beats what we did in 92, 93 by getting to a goal from the final. It's really quite a wondrous achievement. So it really has been a pretty special kind of season, a pretty crazy kind of season. But I think, as I say, it depends what you expected from this season, and I didn't expect much. We've had 2 managers. We've had 3 chairmen, and we got to the point where we had to appoint a temporary chairman to come in and appoint the chief executive, who would appoint the next chairman. And we had the CEO for months on end as well, and we're now starting to get that kind of. I think it's all what's going on with Rangers just now, or what's going on with Rangers this season, and what's going on with us now at this point in our history is summed up by the Copeland Road stand this season. Unbelievably emblematic. It wasn't ready when it should have been, the Copeland Road stand, and that's not good enough. That's definitely a logistical fail. Going to Hampden was inconvenient, but I think only slightly. We're used to going to Hampden as Rangers supporters. We know how to get there. It's only a bit more inconvenient than getting to Ibrox. It's in the same city, it's they're both south of the river, but mostly it was just weird and a bit kind of embarrassing, and it only lasted 4 games. It was only 4 games that we had to go to Hampden and use it as we're home. We were there again for the League Cup semi-final and final, but it wasn't a massive inconvenience. And when we got to that game against Dundee in September, when we were back at Ibrox, my God, was it worth it? You saw that it was worth it. Fantastic facilities for our wheelchair supporters in that Copeland Road stand. And yeah, the whole thing could have been executed better, but I think the worth of getting us in there, and I mean, wheelchair fans were on the track. They were on the track watching games. You saw that the fella at the AGM talking about his pal that he took to the games a few years back. One of the most heartbreaking things I've ever watched in my life. And for us to come through at this time in our history, when there's a lot of stuff going on, for to finally come through for that fella and our other wheelchair fans and get them those facilities, and plus get the foul-mouthed bastards away for this. They're embarrassing us. Some of the stuff they're shouting at referees and linesmen is not doing the 4th official. It's getting embarrassing. So we want them away. for the side of the track, getting them in the Copeland, in the middle of the Copeland, so we all the other BAMs in there, and it was worth it. And I think that's what it's like next season and the season after, we're winning treble after treble. Well, you look back at this point and go, well, it was only 4 seasons. It's only 4 seasons we went without winning the league, and even if it was more than that, there was a lot of European highlights to compensate for it as well. I'd love to give you guys 2 weeks off. I'd like to have 2 weeks off myself. Well, I wouldn't actually dislike doing the chat, as you probably realised. I'd like to give you 2 weeks off, but unfortunately, Rangers, the season 2025-2026 has already started, and it will definitely get up and going. There's probably going to be big news tomorrow, big news on Monday. There's going to be big news throughout the whole summer. But I'm not kind of curtailed now by the times of kickoffs, so I'll try and get, and I'll try and do smaller pods. I will honestly try and do some small pods, just touching on the little driblets of news that are coming out about what's going to be a massive summer for us at all levels of the club. But I'll try to give you as many days off as I possibly can just now. But I think I'll end up having to give you 2 weeks off, because that's the time she gets the whole. It'll be just the season's bloody starting again, and that's a thing for all of you. I don't want to get all kind of heteronormative about it, but of course, suddenly you've got a bit of spare time, haven't you? You've got a bit of spare time, and this is the time to go. Just your partners that they've cost you. Rangers have cost you time with your loved ones, and you can go and just spend. What I did spend 2 weeks really close up to them. Hope we didn't know. And what will happen is they'll just go, is that this Club World Championship that's on? Oh, is that right, Hen? I didn't think you were actually. Or is that right? My darling, I'm not trying to say it. I know there's plenty ladies out there that watch this pod as well. What's happening? What's happening with the Club World Championship? I didn't know you were into football that much. No, I was looking through the papers to see if I could find anything. Apparently, it's on Channel 5. You don't mind me going? Well, no, just you go and watch that a wee bit for you. I think you've done really well at last. It's do their nuts in, and they can't wait to see the back, because they really enjoy the time away for you that Rangers gives them. So that's I know a lot of you are married and what have you, and you both watch Rangers. I'm not trying to get, but these things happen. But I'll end up having to go on holiday for a fortnight when the season's actually starting. But I'll try and I will be bothering you for the few weeks. I'll try and give you a bit of time off, folks. And I'd say thanks. Just want to say thanks. Thank you to you. Thank you to Barry for getting us through this part of the season. He's absolutely brilliant. But I'm looking forward to the new. I've got stuff to say about the new management structure and the way we're going to go ahead, the type of manager we're looking for and all that. But I'll save that for the coming weeks. But thanks, folks. Thanks so much for listening to these podcasts. I mean, they're all going over an hour now because I've got so much to say. I don't know how to edit it because we're all knackered. Everything we've been through this season, it's been traumatic at times. I say it's been really exciting at times as well. But thanks so much for the lovely feedback, but mostly just give me your time. Give me your time. And it's been a great wee community, and it's just great. I need to get it off my chest. I need to talk. I need to share this stuff, and to have people to talk to have people that want to listen. It's lovely. It really is lovely. And my apologies for all the. I'll be right out of sync now as well. I imagine my mouth is going out of sync with what's coming out of it. So apologies for all the technical difficulties. I'll try and learn some stuff about podcasting over the course of the summer. But thank you so much. It's been fantastic having your company on what has been a hell of a season. It's meant the world. Cheers, troops. The strips. I was slagging the strip last night. Andy Hillis, total legend, was disagreeing with me. He said, I think the new strip's great. Total legend of the Fat Egg Pod. And there's a few of these. And he was disagreeing with me with the new. I don't like the white collar and what have you, but I remember, for example, the 1995 Scottish Cup final when we debuted our new strip, that Adidas thing with the red, white and blue piping over the shoulder and all that. I thought it looked terrible. But we then go and Loudrup scores and Gordon Jury, hat-trick, Loudrup and Jury Cup final, they should call that. And we scudded hearts and ads. My sister was working at Ladbrokes at the time and he'd got us these total hospitality seats right in front of the podium. The old presentation with the old main stand at Hampden. So the first thing Richard Gough did after lifting the Scottish Cup was the double for Rangers that season was shake hands with me. I was one of the nutters going, yeah, you see right in front of the cup getting lifted, and so it turns into one of the best days ever. And so I love that kit. A lot of them shaking hands with the players like Gaza and all that. Is Andy Gorham, the gloves, as they're lifting the trophy. And plus the fact we destroyed Hearts that day. It was an exhibition of fantastic football from a fantastic Rangers team. So that's fairly swung it round for me. I think Ajax's strip, for example, a big massive red block down the middle of a white shirt. That's fashion-wise, that makes no sense. Brazil, canary yellow and blue with white. That's just a mishmash of peely-wally colours. But when you're winning World Cups and you're scoring some of the most amazing goals, when you're doing a nil-nil or curling the thing in from basically the corner flag into the back post in the River Plate Stadium in the third, fourth place playoff of the 1978 World Cup, and you've got it in Adidas with the strip. It's amazing what is done in a particular Rangers strip. And sorry, did I say Rangers strip? What is done in any kind of football strip is what just screws your mind towards that's a beautiful strip, because it's beautiful football. It's played in it. And probably the Rangers kit I hated the most when it first came out was, I loved Adidas. I'm just talking about the 78 World Cup. Scotland go there in Umbro, a kit that I had. I think about 75% of the teams that went to the 78 World Cup were in Adidas. Brazil in Adidas with it, and it was long sleeves because it's winter time in Argentina in 78. Even the Peru kit, the horrors they inflicted upon us, I loved that Peru kit. It's sensational, just the three stripes. And that's what I wanted. I just dreamed, all the times we had Umbro, I dreamed of Rangers having Adidas. And finally, the big news, Rangers are going Adidas, Rangers are going Adidas. And it was the worst period of Adidas ever, as far as I'm concerned. We very rarely just got the three stripes. That was when they went with the mud flaps thing. I remember the Marseille team that won the European Cup, they won the Champions League, the first Champions League in '93. You remember, because I saw them at Ibrox in the very first ever Champions League match. Played Champions League proper. I was at that game, and we've got the same kit, that thing with the three white mud flaps down it. Like Trevor Steven and Stuart McCall, they would tuck in their shorts and it looked like a Kilmarnock strip, because they had the high shorts, and they always had three white stripes on each side of the crest. This isn't it. There's too much white on it. This isn't a Rangers kit. I hate this top. Treble, goal away for the Champions League final, unbeaten in 44 games. It's my favourite Rangers kit of all time. Second only to the 1978 one that I grew up with. It's the famous. So it's not really about what the strip looks like when you first put it on. It's what you do in it as footballers and as a Rangers team. So I've got great hope for that. One for the road trips, one for the very end of 2024, 2025. I'm pitting the bins out. I'm just going to go and pit the bins out. The pins get picked up on a Sunday. What bins is it this week? It's the grey and the green. I've got to go and pit out the grey and the green. If that isn't a symbol, a metaphor, an emblem that perfectly sums up what we're going to do next season, I don't know what is. You're absolute legends, folks. Thank you for all your time, and I'll speak to you again all too soon, but that's the end of that.